Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
All right, there we go. Well, hey, we're here to talk about SketchUp today,
You got that
and
right.
uh, and pick up kind of on where we left off with our last session. Can you see my SketchUp screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. And so I haven't touched this since the last time we were messing with this. I did go in later and work out the whole parapet piece. Now, when
Mm-hmm.
I pull my image up on the right, can you see this on the right?
No.
All you see is SketchUp.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to share multiple.
So you could turn off this share and then go back and share your entire screen is what it's labeled.
Okay, screen share. I don't. Oh, okay, there it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously I haven't done this since the last time.
It's all good.
Okay, so now I've got that. Now you can see both the SketchUp and the JPEG.
Yeah.
All right, so we left off last time talking about groups,
Mm-hmm.
and I still have all that set up. And we messed a little bit with the brick, just starting to do brick patterning. And Kent Hurley was going to print some stuff for me, but time just probably just got the best of him, like it does all of us, and he wasn't able to get me by some stuff because I was wanting to see, that stuff that we had worked on with the brick molds, what that truly was going to come out, and if I needed to adjust anything before I got too heavy into the brick surrounds on this model.
Well, if he doesn't become available, I have a few other guys who have 3D printers who probably would be interested in seeing.
Well, here's the great thing about Kent. He's local to me.
Oh, awesome.
I mean, he's in Kansas City, Missouri. I literally think his house is like 10 or 15 minutes from my office.
No way. Okay,
Yes.
well then
So
there
it's
you
just
go.
a matter of hooking up with him and getting him to print some things when it works out, so I can kind of see and plow ahead with this. But
I've been talking to Kent about getting him on the show too, but carry on.
okay. All right, so we have the parapet piece that we based on this rudimentary profile that I just threw together, kind of knowing what those dimensions would approximately be.
Mm-hmm.
And last time I was saying, hey, look at the picture while I'm talking to you. Well, I'll keep the picture up, but it'll slide away when I jump back into SketchUp, but I'll keep bringing it back up as we point to things. But
Sure.
today what I thought we'd do is go into just our parapet piece and start looking at, we've got a whole row of what we call dental molding.
Mm-hmm.
That's in here, that's a detail. We have these little decorative nubs that are details, and then we've got some recesses that are all details in here too.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that is real simple and easy to model if you keep things within a simple geometry. So
Yep.
part of the layout with the dimensions helps us get that with, I like to keep things in dimensions of 4s if possible.
Yeah.
Most of the times. Okay, so if I come over and I start, this was 1 foot is what we have to work with. So let's start with our recesses in here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that one and I'm gonna come off 2 inches, grab this one here, 2 inches. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of setting a boundary around the outside of this particular level of the parapet to give me guidelines for these recesses.
Okay. Yeah.
As I zoom in here, I can kind of see it looks like there's one in the middle, and maybe there's one here, and there's a smaller one here. It's really very difficult to see exactly how many there are. So what I'm going to do for the sake of this model is I'm just going to do some that symmetrically line up with the facade itself.
Model is licensed. You've got the.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get carried away with that. So 2 inches there. We'll go ahead and just for right now, it'll let me. Just to pull 2 inches off each side. Just now I've got, a boundary around the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what I want to do is I do have these lines down here. Remember how we laid all that out?
Yeah.
And they were set dimensions. That was 4 feet, and let's see, these were 2'8". So I'm going to come over here, and because I want some of these indentions to line up right on the centers of these, So 4 feet, 3'8". Come on, grab it. Come on, grab it. Not gonna do it for me. Why? There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna draw a rectangle in that. I'm just setting up construction lines for right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not doing any modeling or anything at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now these were 8 inches. Oops. Oh, really? It is not.
So when you're grabbing these lines, you're punching 8 in, and it's translating it to 8-inch, and then.
Yes. I forget. I'm supposed to be providing instructional information as we go here.
It's okay. These people are supposed to go through part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing the line, and in the bottom right-hand corner you have the little length tab. Yeah. I'm just typing it in because by default it automatically types in, and the default is inches.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can type like 1 foot, 1, and then the foot sign and the number of inches. But instead of 2'8", I'm just hitting 32 inches.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 8, and I'm giving myself the guidelines to start setting all this stuff up.
You put an extra 8-inch on the end.
Oh, I did, didn't I? So I just take that. That's why I have people that are watching as part of the instruction. When you catch the errors, that means I'm doing a great job providing instruction. How's that? Okay, so now I have 3 here. I have 4 feet out here. Actually, if I offsetted that 8 and went 32, I'd be pretty close to having 5 equal. So I am going to go ahead and do that just for the sake of the construction lines. And then I'll know I have 5 equal. Is really not wanting to grab these lines from me today. So there's that one.
Is it because the space is so short?
No, I think it has to do with as soon as I draw an entity like a rectangle or a line, it doesn't want to grab from that line of a rectangle for some reason. If I hit right on a grip point like a midpoint or an end, I got to find the in between like that little red box.
Yeah.
And then it tends to do a little bit better. So, and I'm using that tape measure toolbar just to grab it. I click on the line, I hit the left button, and then I drag it over. I type 8 in. Okay, so I'm down here, little red box, click, type 32, rectangle button. There. So now, just for the sake of our artistic license, now I've got some areas that are divided into fifths across the front of this facade. If you're only going to deal with the one facade and not create a 3 or 4 sided building, it's a whole lot easier. If I was to turn the corner with this and down this whole side, then I'd work in modules of this 3 that you can kind of see in the picture.
Yeah.
This module of 3 translates to what we're modeling here. And now keep in mind, everything I'm doing was in the parapet.
Yeah.
I'm not outside of it, so I can't click on any of those individually. I'm within this group, and that way I'm not messing up any of the rest of my model. Okay. Just want you to notice that even when this is all 3-dimensional and I'm drawing in this, you can still do push and pull. Okay, and it will limit it. You'll be able to see to right there, which is the first line. It's always going to default in a limit to something that you've drawn within the model. Okay, so I stopped it there, but now I can grab it again, go further, but I don't want to do that. So I'm just pointing that out that, hey, you can still do all that manipulation. Say you want to change something, because we're going to do that once we get up here and we're getting ready to do that into here. Yeah. Now, the one thing that I didn't take into account when I built this last time was the thickness of this piece right here and how it would print in Shapeways. Because right now I set this as the minimum thickness that I can print successfully.
Yeah.
But I'm getting ready to push and pull within that, which is going to create their little errors in their checklist.
Uh-huh.
So in theory, what we would do, well, I'll just do it. We're going to get out of that, and we're going to change our masonry layer, and we're going to drop this down to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
Of our parapet. And now I'm going to take the parapet, get back into that group, and I'm going to thicken that up to the thickness of our wall.
Right on.
Okay, so now I've got the extra thickness here to work with, and now I've got one piece here and one piece here. In the grand scheme of things, it made it a whole lot easier on the Shapeways check system.
Yeah.
And here becomes your glue joint if you want to build this model in separate pieces.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in, back to my image real quick. Have no idea what the detail is in these. So this is where, again, you get to pick what you want to do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, well, they probably, it's out of wood, so I come up here to my tools, to my offset. I'm going to grab, you'll see on the edge, it's recognized this rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I come up here, it'll recognize the larger rectangle around the whole piece.
Yeah.
I want to work here. I'm going to offset this an inch.
Oh, cool.
Just to give myself a little bit of extra relief. And I'm going to do all these at the same time just for the ease of working within the groups of commands. Because if I click on it while I'm kind of active in the command, it just saves time.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm going to go to push pull, and I highlight the area that I want to push. I click on it. I'm going to push it in. We're going to say 2. That went in. Now I grab this outside area. I want to push it in. We'll just say 1. Okay, so now we've created some 3-dimensional relief.
Yes.
Real fast on the front of this facade. You know,
yeah.
The goal is fast. If you're going to work in SketchUp and try and, for those guys that are out there like Kent, and I guess maybe Ed's probably printing stuff on Shapeways and selling it too. Kent's doing a fantastic job with his machinery stuff, and you got to be able to be somewhat quick, or you're going to be kicking yourself and not making money.
Yes.
I'm just doing it because I thought it'd be cool to embark down this path with you, and you know, like I said, if we end up printing this out and seeing how it all tests out through the FUD product, I'm finding the white, strong and flexible, isn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. It's
beginning to be old school.
Yeah, and some of the stuff I originally did, like bar stools and benches, people have bought, and now I got like this 50-50 mixed review of it not printing successfully. And
yeah,
mine came out fine, but that was just mine.
Uh-huh. Well, so, expectations are being raised every year.
Yeah, because of FUD, like it should be.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just need to say, you know what, I don't deal with any of the cheap stuff. If I'm going to do modeling, I only do FUD, and what is it, FXD is the other one now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So now I've got a nice detailed wood parapet with millworks and moldings that at this scale, there's no sense in beveling and curving these edges. I mean, for crying out loud, by the time you put a coat of paint on it, you've already rounded the edge.
Yeah, yeah.
So that, from my perspective, adds a nice level of relief and detail to a flat area of a parapet. Okay, now I got another one up here that has similar, but this is where we had our bump outs.
Yes.
So now I look at it and say, okay, well, it was easy enough to divide this into fists. That works symmetrically with the plan. This one, there's only 4. I want to stay somewhat true to what we have going on here, and I only want to do 4. So now I'm out to working something out on the ends, and it looks like these, if I kind of follow the natural path, might kind of line up on the masonry in between the windows, or maybe a little outside of it, because it looks like they're fairly equal spaced here.
I'd agree with that.
You know, but I don't know what this dimension is out here, and I don't know what this dimension is here, so we'll fake it. So we're going to come in, back into our group, new guidelines. So we'll just start with 12 from either end. I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these others that were from the other one. We don't need those anymore. It starts to get confusing.
Yeah.
And for those that don't do SketchUp, I don't want it any more confusing than it already is. Okay, so then I've got, let's see what my distance is between these two, just so that I can try and be somewhat 15 foot 4. So I have 3 equal spaces of 15 foot 4. So what is that? 5 feet, 1 and something inches. But we're not going to get that technical. We're just going to go 5 feet. So 60. Didn't grab it. Here I am again, playing 60 from that side, 60 from that side. Okay, so now I've got center lines of where I'm going to drop these 4 rectangles.
Perfect.
Just like kind of similar to the other one, I've got 8 inches. So how about we just go, we're going to make 4x4s for this. Well, 2 off the top, 2 off the bottom. I already have 1 guideline here. 2, 2, and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Oops. Okay?
Yep.
So carry that out and do the same across. You can see you can knock these out pretty quick. I'm just going in, grabbing them with that tape measure and offsetting to give myself those guidelines. And then hit all my rectangles. And I use the shift and the middle mouse button key to pan across like that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I've got my 4 detail accents up top. Okay.
Yeah.
Grab my push-pull there. Let's make these 2 inches because we're going to add a little bit extra to these for some relief again. That one didn't come out 2. Try it again, 2. That does not. It doesn't look like it, but it's 2. We trust the computer when we're in doubt.
Perspective is what makes it look weird, eh?
Yeah. All right, so now I've got the base concrete. Well, that looks kind of big and bulky, right? Well, let's go back and use our tools, our offset command. Now we're out here at this face. We'll offset that. We'll just call it a 1/2 inch. Go back to our push-pull, and we'll push that in. Let's say 0.75, 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't need to go all the way in. So see, now we just added a little bit of relief that you'll be able to pick up.
That looks awesome.
In the FUD. And if we do the same with the rest of these, what did I say, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch across all these. And again, I kind of point to the middle of these box, and then automatically that red box is grabbing the outside edge, type 0.5. Mm-hmm. Push pull, grabbing, waiting for the highlighted box, 0.75. 0.75. Oh, I got one more. 0.75. Now, folks, you have the parapet to what we are affectionately calling the fake Ghostbusters building. And is it perfect? No. Okay, but how long have we spent here? 15 minutes maybe?
Yeah.
And we have a parapet design that you can drop on top of any building.
Yeah, exactly.
The way I just set this up as a block, I can export this group out and tie it into several. And that's kind of where I was going to go with kind of the next 5-10 minutes here and keep the segments short. Mm-hmm. But I'll just take this and select it, edit, copy. And then I'll go edit, paste in place. Now the reason I've made a habit of paste in place is architecturally I get pretty anal with how things are moving around. I don't like to just try and copy, paste, and guess. When it's pasted in place, I have 2 exact duplicate copies, or 1 duplicate copy on top of the original right here. I grab my move button. I come in here to an exact point, and then I'll zoom back out, and I'll move it on an axis that's in line, so that when I get into setting this up for shapeways, I have things lined up to just create a sprue that connects them all together to keep my box as small as, because you have to deal with the maximum size on each one. Yeah. With what each FXD is even worse on how much you can print, but So then if I grab this, I'm going to go flip along. And sometimes I have to guess because I wasn't paying attention. I think it's the red. Nope. Oops. Yeah, don't ignore the error. Oh, come on. There. Okay. Flip along, group screen, flips it to the other side. Now I've got
Continue on. I have a family thing here. So.
All right, I'll keep going and I'll keep chatting and you're just gonna have to catch up.
Okay, good.
All right, so what I'm gonna do here is now that I have this parapet style A on this side, we're just gonna create a little bit of a different style here. And I don't particularly care to have this as an option, so we're gonna get rid of these by using the push-pull, grabbing them, going back to flush. And then I will select the rectangles or the lines independently and delete them so that I'm not destroying the geometry of the model per se, but I'm keeping the geometry intact because I'm going to do a different parapet on this side. See if I just grab this and delete it. It worked. So I spoke against my own understanding here. So you just grab them. I circled around them from left to right, highlight them, and deleted them. So now on the top here, we went 2 inches in. I'm going to go ahead and set up a couple more lines here, and we'll just go 2 inches on this one, 2 inches on this one. I want to have a nice big, deep reveal on this parapet as you're modeling here, and we're going to set that in 2 inches. Now I've got a pretty good sized detail up top that that you can add as an accent color in your model if you wanted to. I think we'll even, let's go ahead and we're going to add another inch to that, another inch to that. Give it even a little bit more depth up top. Then I'm going to come in on these, and I kind of like this pattern, goes well with what's established, but I want to break it up just a little bit more. So I'm going to come in and use the midpoint here and just divide this in a little bit more than half. I've got 8 inches in between here, so we're going to go 4. So we'll offset this 2 and this 2 so that the geometry in and of itself is consistent with the dimensions we've been working with as a whole on the model. Take that, and now I can select that, and I'm just going to push pull that and bring that out flush. So now I've taken what was an overall.
But you had to trace that to be able to pull it out, though.
Yeah, well, what I did was I'm just setting up. I like to work with construction lines because it's going to snap to the midpoint.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you can draw this a couple different ways. I mean, I'm using construction lines to offset.
Yeah.
2 inches to each side, and then the last one I did with the line tool. While I'm selecting that line, erasing it. This time I'll just draw a rectangle, kind of like I was doing with the others. There to there. You can use lines and just draw straight down along your guidelines.
No, it becomes real instead of a marking.
Yeah, so what you can see here is I've deleted the bumps up top. I've created an extra recess in the bottom here. And again, this isn't taking too long. You just have to be willing to get in here and mess around with a few things and test what you like. I mean, I do this every day as an architect. I'm always, you know, design is a never-ending process for me, and I'm always, you know, doing things like this. Well, maybe if I move it 2 inches, maybe if I move it 4, well, no, I don't like that at all. So we just erase it, and it's a constant process of drawing, erasing, modeling, sketching, you know. And so in this particular case, it's all those things applied to a fake model that has already been built in the real world that we're looking at. Okay, well, how to create, you know, a storefront prototype for the model railroad and structures industry. Did you like that logo I sent over to you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Those are the kind of cartoony versions. I've got some much more elaborate ones coming your way.
Oh, really?
But
awesome.
I was just kicking that around last night. It's kind of like that old school cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see fun logo, but
if you could animate it coming in and out and stuff like that, could be like an old cartoon.
Yeah. All right. So now, within another 4 to 5 minutes here, Ron has stepped away and addressed all of his family issues for the day, and
Like
we have. That's right. We have two
totally different
similar but very different parapets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of going in and doing something on the modeling side that can be printed, and that's where we just need to run some of these through Shapeways and see how much the 3D print detail starts coming out. These actually should come out really nice in the FUD product.
Yeah.
It's when we get down to the brick level. Anytime we're dealing with less than 3/4 of an inch in real scale, once I scale all that down to HO scale, I think that's where Kent was saying, hey, I'm not so sure you're going to be able to get all this stuff to print. So I may send these over to him. I think he has to remodel them, and that's why he maybe hasn't gotten back with me. So, I mean, that's just within 20-30 minutes here. We've finished the model for our Ghostbusters building. We've added an additional parapet that can be dropped again on top of stone wall, brick wall, stucco wall. So anybody that's out there modeling in mat board or anything else, you can take a 3D printed parapet, glue it right on top, and have some additional detail without the hassle of having to try and scratch build that whole piece. You still there? Did I lose you? All right, you there?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what happened.
My son just got home, so
so did the lights flicker in your house and the whole earth shake?
No, sun's shining. It's beautiful.
Let's next week. Let's tackle the storefront.
Awesome.
And I'll see if I can touch base with Kent in the meantime and figure out how much relief we need to realistically looking at for these bricks before we start plowing through all the brick layout, because the surrounds are going to take a little bit of time.
Sure.
And I want to have walked through it once before I do the modeling session, because that one could potentially be 30 to 45 minutes. And what I may try and do is put together a couple of pieces on that, so that we're not trying to model the entire thing from scratch.
Yeah.
Start to finish in a video, but I can say, okay, here's step one, do a little bit of the modeling, and then show, 2 pieces of that put together. Here's step 2, here's step 3, to try and condense it down. Because I've watched, I think almost all of the videos you've posted up, and this is great content for a few people, but for people that have absolutely no interest, I think I'm looking at about a 10 to 15 minute attention span probably to explain to them where this side of our hobby is potentially taking us.
Yes, on one hand, but on the other hand, they can pause it and rewind it. It's not like they can pause and rewind and jump to different sections and stuff like that. People who are really interested in getting involved with this, they're gonna be using this stuff the way they want to.
Right.
It's all free, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on. I'm going to hook us up with Nick about those windows. He says that he wants to do a hangout with you and talk about things.
Cool.
About laser cutting, and we'll go from there.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. Thanks
again, Ron.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right, you too. All right, bye.